This week, no problem. We recap the Brickyard 400 and revisit the updated NASCAR Cup Series Championship odds tonight on the back road.
It's a non-points race, but it is a short race. Checker flag. Let's roll this race.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to a little Monday night back road edition. Boys, are you ready for some NASCAR? Well, no, we got the Olympic break. There's no racing for 2 weeks, but we're still here. We're going to break down Indianapolis tonight. We're going to revisit the Cup Series Championship odds, and we're going to do a little giveaway. Seth Woolcock here can tell you a little bit more about that, and just happy to see you on a Monday night, Seth.
Hey, good to be back here with you, Elliot Rod. Feels strange not to have a race to prep for, but weirdly, kind of looking forward to it, as I'm sure the drivers and the teams are. Heading back up to the Poconos this weekend, so God bless me. Fingers crossed that goes well this time. But excited to spend some time with family, a little downtime here. So appreciate everyone making time for us today, especially Rod Villagomez back on the show after a little bit of everywhere, man. You've been jet flying all over the country, man. Might as well have been on a NASCAR team as much as you've been traveling this last month, my friend.
I feel like I would have had a lot more fun if I was on a NASCAR team, but no, listen, it's great to be back. I'm so glad to be back home. I have been for a couple of weeks, but again, it's just, once you hit the ground, you hit the ground running. And I've been watching you guys in the meantime. You guys killed it in Pocono. Man, I'm jealous. I would have loved to have been out there with you guys, but definitely glad to be back with you guys. So cheers to a Monday and cheers to a nice talk about what was a weird weekend.
That's an understatement, maybe, Elliot.
Yeah, no doubt about it. We are definitely stoked to have Rod back. Glad he's making time for us. And we'll get to the Rearview. We'll get to that. But first, we want to say tonight's show presented by the fine folks over at Trophy Smack. It's your one-stop destination for your fantasy leagues this season. You can elevate your league to the next level with the most unique and highest quality championship hardware in the industry. So you can celebrate your league's champion at the end of the year with thousands of fully customizable trophies, rings, and belts. And they're so easy, a child could do it design tool. Don't forget, no championship season is complete without having your biggest loser. Trophy Smack has a growing collection of humiliating loser awards and punishments as well. And one more thing, you can visit trophysmack.com and get free 2-day shipping on all your draft kits, and that's no code necessary. So thanks again to Trophy Smack for hopping on board and presenting the special little Monday night back road action we got going on here.
Big shout out to Trophy Smack. We got draft night out here in Canton in a couple weeks. They fully stocked us up there, so appreciate them also powering tonight's back road as well. Marcus in the chat, up and early, 8 p.m. He was here a half hour early. We appreciate you, Marcus, saying, I predict Christopher Bell will win the championship in 2024. Marcus, you must be an absolutely huge Chris Bell fan, because I think it's Marcus every week on both of our both this show and the NASCAR betting preview show. He predicts Chris Bell every week. So keep swinging, my friend. Keep fucking swinging. You're going to hit one here soon once again. Charles saying, I've got money on that future bet as well, Marcus, and I got it at 8-1. Well done, Chuck. Not surprised there. Kush dropping by as well. What's up, Kush? Good to see you on a Monday night. And Charles dropping a $20 super chat right off the rip saying, what are we going to do with ourselves these next 2 weeks without racing? My wife is stoked for the Olympics. So, Rod, I don't know if you've gotten too into it, but today I just recorded my top 10 bets for the Olympics for betting pros. So we got action over there to get down on as well, my friend.
I am nothing if not a junkie when it comes to some of these Olympic sports. I'm trying to get back into the handball. I love Olympic handball. Ooh. That was a fun thing to write for a few years ago when they came back through this time. So I'm trying to get an angle on that one again. So yeah, that's how I'll be spending my break. It's not much of a break when you continue to keep watching. The Arena Football League's done, so I can't do that anymore. So I got to find something else to pass the time. I mean, far be it from me to leave this office, but I guess I'm going to have to.
Elliot, how do you feel about the Olympics? What's your favorite event this year? We got surfing coming up. John, couple, I can't even remember his name. John something from Team USA. He's an absolute stud. I'll be down on him.
Yeah, I mean, the Olympics are always pretty fun. And table tennis is an Olympic sport in the summer, right? That's a real interesting one. And boys, with the bets, count me in on anything and everything that is not sanctioned by the NCAA. Because
yes.
Marcus and everybody else, make sure you're subscribed. We are going to do a giveaway at the end of the show. It is highlighted by a nice little hat we got from Pocono celebrating the Great American Getaway 400, and we got some other goodies for you too. We'll get to that later in the show. Without further ado, let's look back in the rear view and go take a look back at the Brickyard. So we did have the Cup and Xfinity Series back on the Indianapolis Oval. The Truck Series over at Indianapolis Raceway Park, Lucas Oil Speedway, IRP, whatever the hell they're calling that place nowadays. The trucks were there Friday night. Ty Majeski gets the win there. In the Xfinity Series, an absolutely wild finish where Riley Herbst comes out on top. And in the Cup Series, Kyle Larson with a dominant run at the finish and a little bit of weirdness in fuel strategy and stuff at the end. Larson ends up taking the win, earning his redemption for the whole Indianapolis Coca-Cola 600 fiasco.
God, I just want some consistency, like called by NASCAR. And like this time, luckily, I don't think I was on like the victim side of it. But man, like Rod, I felt like between like Brad Keselowski pitting kind of towards the end there, right before they go green, the field shuffling up, Larson controlling the restart all of a sudden when it was Blaney's control. That felt weird. Like they should either re-rack them or Larson should have probably had some type of penalty and gone in the back for jumping the restart. And then right at the end, too, we have Ryan Preece who spins with 2 to go. They had plenty of time to see he wasn't going to make it back. Could have thrown the caution, could have re-racked him and done it again. But when the Hendrick Motorsports guys are winning, Rod, we can't throw any cautions. Have to end it with a caution instead.
I don't get it. One guy like loses a tail and starts to fishtail, and NASCAR throws a caution. Ryan Preece is backwards on the track, not even fully trying to get back. I mean, his car's moving like an inch per second, and we're talking about they're like, oh, hold,
Yeah.
hold.
He hit the inside wall too, which makes it even worse.
That's what I'm saying. Like we've seen cautions thrown for way less than that. So I'm not a conspiracy theorist. Believe me, I don't have the time to be. But I will say that I don't understand. Because when we're calling for them to not throw the yellow on something like that, they'll throw it. But when we don't want the yellow, then they're like, or when they want the yellow, then they go, oh, no. So yeah, I don't get it. I'll never be in that booth. I'll never make that call, but God, if I did, I'd be the one of the people yelling at.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they wanted to try to avoid what we saw happen at Nashville, where they just kept wrecking and everything like that. I tell you what, though, that first caution with 2 to go or whatever, I don't even remember who crashed at this point, but that was shaping up to be potentially an all-time
Rowdy.
Finish. Yeah, of course it was Rowdy. Yeah, of course. That's right. But I mean, with Keselowski somehow defying the odds, whatever's in the Ford's fuel tanks, they got to study that. Because Brad, even Letarte said Brad should have run out 7 laps ago. I don't know what the fuck's going on. He gave up. Keselowski's leading. You have Larson right there trying to run down Blaney. Larson had passed about 20 cars there to make it through the field. We were set up for a wild finish, and then unfortunately, the artificial wild finish was kind of taken from us because of the whole Ryan Preece deal. Where, I understand that you don't want to devolve your entire race into the race was this way, and then it became a shit show. There's 5 overtimes, and the guys who were first, second, and third leading up to it end up 18th, 22nd, and 30th. I understand they don't want that. But, I mean, Preece hit the inside wall. He clearly wasn't going to go. It's disappointing they didn't at least give it one more shot.
If you don't want to finish 18th, 19th, and 20th, then pit when Kyle Larson did. I mean, that's again. But for me, I think Brad Keselowski knew I had an 8-1 out there on him. And I was like, oh my God, this is blessed by Jesus, this fuel tank, because it's going to continue to keep going. Like loaves and fishes, kids. But no, unfortunately, it didn't.
I think a couple other big takeaways from me, like seeing Indy on the oval for the first time, especially in the Cup Series, like we need to kind of treat this like a fucking super speedway, because while there wasn't as much calamity as we usually see at the Talladegas, the Atlantas, the Daytonas of the world, I mean, it was just craziness where strategy was influencing the race so much. Like Jimmy Johnson was running top 10 for a second. John Hunter Nemechek looked like the class of the field. Also, fuck you, John Hunter Nemechek. Again, you're on my shit list. Like, just can't get this guy right. He ruins every single race I try to bet on him, or just even when I'm not betting on him, he just ruins other bets. So fuck you, John Hunter Nemechek. But like, I did not bet any outrights last weekend. I thought I was going to get down on some before the race, and I just didn't. I felt really good about my props. I had the Bowman over Kyle Busch, which looked good after Busch spun, kind of caught a break, and then didn't catch a break when John Hunter spins and takes out Bowman and Hamlin, a couple other ones. Had the Hamlin over Larson, kind of bad call in my mind. I just thought there was kind of more of a gap between those guys. And then Joey Logano, top 10. So I went 0-4, 0-3 in the Cup Series. But shout out Cole Custer and Gator on Saturday for standing on business and helping us a little bit. I appreciate that.
Yeah, always nice to come out with something from the weekend there. But yeah, I mean, hopefully those were some hard hits in that crash from John Hunter too, kind of whacking the inside wall and out to the outside. Hopefully everyone's all right. First thought with a guy like Bowman, who's already missed races due to concussions, is hopefully he's good. But thankfully we got a little 2-week break that if anyone's got any symptoms after that, hopefully they can work through it. And, always glad to see everyone okay, but unfortunate that it did kill quite a few bets for you there.
Yeah, it happens. Chuck saying my only 2 truck bets were Eckes over Majeski and Eckes top 3. Good on you there, Chuck. Glad to hear you. At least probably had a little bit of a profit there. Probably not much. I was also high on Eckes and fading Majeski. He told us to eat one there. Also happy to have cashed Larson outright at 6-1. Yeah, Tino. We had Tino on the program last week. He was really high on Larson. Rod, did you see Larson come in there? Like, did you see that from a mile away? Because he was so bad at Pocono, like compared to his usual runs. But then Tino kind of brought up the point, listen, like if anyone wants to win at Indy here, it's Kyle Larson, and he did it.
Well, and not just that, but I mean, we brought up too on our show that that Larson was tested out there, and not to mention Larson ran the Indy 500, so he had extra track time on that particular track. Obviously, not in the same kind of car, but I mean, when you step behind the wheel of something, Cody was all over Kyle Larson, and I agreed with them, especially from the standpoint of there was a lot of extra track time for Kyle Larson on that track. But what cracked me up is that at one point the announcers were like, well, Kyle Larson, he's back there and he's just not making any moves. And then all of a sudden he's up to 10th from 23rd. I'm like, what do you mean he's not making any moves? Just your camera operators aren't showing the moves doesn't mean he's not moving up that ticker. What are you guys watching? Like, I don't understand where your guys' eyes are, because Larson's moving, and he definitely moved all the way to the front.
It's tough because a lot of the times in the broadcast now, it seems like they want people to call the races off the monitors. They have remote broadcasting and things like that. I know that's one thing Dale Jr. would always do. He'd be looking at the track. That's why he'd always be the one to be like, hey, we got to crash in turn 4, and scream and give us all the jump scare, because he's actually looking at the track. He's not looking on the monitor. But if you look at Larson's in-car, I watched a little bit of it as he's moving through the field. Feels like he had to have learned something in the Indy car. Obviously, very different cars, but just in the way the air moves and the places you can make a pass around the track that maybe you don't think you can. I think Larson running the Indy 500 and having all that practice definitely helped him.
And I loved how the cars kind of looked both on Saturday and Sunday in both of these packages that they kind of brought. Like, it kind of did look like the Indy cars, the way they could kind of pull out of line and fan out. That was pretty cool. Wasn't expecting that. Elliot, I want to leave this with a loaded question for you. On Saturday, we see Riley Herbst get the win. I mean, just great racing all the way around from guys like Eric Almirola kind of coming out of nowhere, Cole Custer trying to hold down the fort, eventually kind of making a teammate play to help out Riley down the stretch. What does this mean for Herbst? We've been hearing rumblings that maybe he could go to 23-11. He might be in line for a Cup Series victory. This was the best I've ever seen Riley Herbst look, especially in the closing minutes of a race. What do you think this means for him and that number 98 team, given that we don't know the future of that program?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely doesn't hurt. I mean, he's already got the monster money sticking behind him. And, if he's here, if those rumblings are true that, maybe 23-11 or somewhere in Cup, obviously winning a race in Indianapolis, doing it the way he did too, running out there and taking it on the last lap, definitely not going to hurt a guy. We've seen more talent out of Herbst than I thought maybe he had before, in the coming years up to getting these first couple of wins.
Herbst 2024, Rod, you putting that lawn sign in out front?
No, listen, here's the thing. Eyeballs are going to be on him now. So the pressure's on him that was his cover letter. He's got to fill the rest of that resume with something that's going to make a team want to bring him to their team, because again, you can splash once, but then fizzle out. And we've seen Herbst fizzle out more than he splashed this season. So if this is truly the start of something good, he needs to keep it going.
Absolutely. Elliot, anything else from you from Indy as we close the door on the captain's home?
No, nothing much. I want to bring this up because this is just a silly little thing. Kush saying, does Jeff Gordon own Larson's car? Jeff making the public appearances and stuff. I don't know if you guys ever look at the entry lists like real closely. I don't know if they still do this, but I remember they used to, say you had the 4 cars of Hendrick Motorsports or whatever. It wouldn't just say that the owner was Rick Hendrick for all of them. It'd say Rick Hendrick's the owner of this car and Linda Hendrick's the owner of this car. And,
really?
This businessman. Yeah, like with Dale Jr.'s Xfinity team, it would be like Dale Earnhardt Jr. would be the owner of the 8, but then Kelly Earnhardt Miller would be the 7, and L.W. Miller would be the 1. And I don't know if anyone else ever noticed this. I don't know if they still do this, but I'll have to look. Before Richmond, it'd be like Jack Roush owns this, and some other, like the Fenway guy owns this. I don't know, just a silly little quirk. So maybe Jeff Gordon is listed as the owner of the 5. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
think of that before the next race.
Yeah, haven't seen it, but would not be surprised there. What do you guys say? Should we look back at some of our previous NASCAR Cup Series futures we've got down on and check out the odds boards as we head into this 2-week break?
Let's crack open the parking garage props and see where we're going to make or lose some money come November. So, boys, I know we all got down on some season-long bets back in February. Let's crack open these cards, see what we got.
All right, let's start with the win totals for the Cup Series. I just went down on 2 of them. I was Denny Hamlin over 2.5 wins, plus 108, 2 units on that. Elliot, we saw that cash in person at Dover, so that was freaking sweet. And then Joey Logano over 1.5 wins, plus 105, 2 units there. We're about halfway there on that one by the skin of our fucking teeth. So not feeling great about that, but I'm still holding it. Elliot, what about yourself for any win totals? Were you down on?
The only win total bet I placed, and all the bets I talk about, I only did sprinkles at the beginning of the year. I was like, let's just sprinkle a little bit, see what happens. I put down on the over 2.5 wins for Martin Truex Jr. at plus 130. That one is not.
Oh no, my friend.
It's not looking so hot, but he definitely could get on a run. I'm not ruling it out. In a Gibbs car, you can win any week, and we still have a little less than half the season left. But yeah, over 2.5 is not looking so hot right now.
I'm glad this is MTJ's last year, because last year I got bit by taking the under on him. Now you might be getting bit by taking the over. Rod, did you have any win total bets for the Cup Series that you were invested in?
So yeah, in fact, Daniel Suarez over 0.5 win. He gets it done.
Wow.
Race of
Nice.
the season. That was a beautiful one. I mean, that was plus 170. It wasn't like ridiculously great.
Still.
That's a good number though. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was fun. I mean, then I remember Cody was giving me a hard time about it. No, that's guess what? I had it. He won. We did it.
There you go. All right. I like that. What about championship bets here for y'all? I have a Kyle Larson 6-1 ticket that I'm still liking. Still got some CV plus value on that. Kyle Larson to make the championship 4 plus 120, holding that. And then I accidentally did. I think you've done this before as well, Elliot. At one point at Phoenix, I thought I saw a Ryan Blaney 12-1 out there. It was actually for the championship odds, so I went a unit down on that. And hey, you can't get a 12-1 Ryan Blaney ticket anywhere else now, so feeling good there. I did luckily cash out my Eric Jones to win the championship, 120-1. Thank you, FanDuel. Right after he got hurt, I said, "Oh, you're gonna offer me my full half unit back? I'll take that. Thank you." The only one I feel really dead in the water with is the Ross Chastain 20-1 championship winner ticket. I mean, he's out there now like 23, 24-1. So that one's kind of a dead fish. Ellie, what about yourself here?
Yeah, I've got a few different championship 4 and title bets. I'll start with a couple, and then we can segue a little bit, give Rod a chance here before I blow it up. I'll start with the 2 that I doubled up on. Of course, anyone who knows the show, you know I threw a little sprinkle on Bowman for the title and for championship 4, not because I thought he could do it, but because I'm not going to see it happen and not make money from it too. But his title odds were 30-1 to make the championship 4 was 8-1. Obviously, neither of those are going to happen, but it's fun to know that if it does happen, in all of my joy, I will also make a little bit of money. And I also doubled up on Chastain, 4-1 to make the championship 4, 20-1 to win the title. Neither of those are happening either. So we'll get the ones that definitely aren't happening out of the way and push it over to Rod.
Yeah. So I took Chase Elliott at 7-1 to win the whole thing early in the season. I'm not sure what that's at right now. I'd have to double check and look, but we'll obviously talk about that in a second. And then I'm feeling okay now that he won a race and he's locked into the playoffs, right? I mean, he's going to have to do a hell of a lot more over the course of the back end of the season to win the whole thing. But Chase Elliott, 7-1. I think that's a good one. And then Joey Logano, I got 12-1 earlier in the season because it is an even year, and really that's the only handicap that I did. But Joey now he's also locked into the playoffs, right? So who knows? We could see either one of these guys come up big at Phoenix and win this whole thing.
Yep. Rod on the Logano bet, I did the exact same bet for the exact same reason. So I'm down.
I mean, it's almost irresponsible not to at this point, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Kush asking Rod, are you drinking a Boilermaker?
As good as that would be right now, I am drinking a Fort Point Animal at this point. It is a what is it? Tropical IPA. So, yes, I don't know if you have it out there, but Fort Point Beer Company, it's good stuff.
Not a sponsor yet.
Hashtag not a sponsor yet. We'll get there. Animal, come to us.
Why does no one ever ask me what beers I'm drinking? Come on, guys.
Seth, we know what you're drinking. I can see the corn out of that koozie right now. I'm surprised it's not the Jeff Burton John that they sent you. It's from Circle B, but
yeah, for the farmers, baby. Cane beer as well. Ellie, did you have any other futures that you were down on currently that we hadn't talked about?
Yeah, so I'm more optimistic on these few. Well, I'll get one out of the way. That's also not going to happen. Kyle Busch 15-1 to win the title. Not gonna happen either. But it was worth a sprinkle. I don't.
What title are we talking about? Because if we're talking the toilet bowl title, he'll take that one.
Yeah, that one didn't.
Go-kart title with his kids. Yeah.
Yeah, marginally more optimistic. Chris Buescher to make the championship 4 at 4-1. I can see him kind of falling ass backwards into that happening. Tyler Reddick to make the championship 4 at plus 325. That one's probably the one I'm feeling the best about. He's looked real hot lately. I know he's pissed about finishing second all the time. I think he'll get back to victory lane. And again, with their speed and with Toyota speed, easily could see that happening. To win the title, I have Truex also at 10-1. That one, yeah, about the same as the win bet, but there's a better chance than most of those other guys. And okay, I did spell out my card there, so there we go.
Okay, man, you've been a sucker for Truex from the very jump of this season, and you bet him outright so much, my friend. He's taken all your money and ran.
Yeah, I was optimistic the first half of the year. It's been a few weeks since I put him into between bets, and I think it's probably going to be a few more before I bring him back.
Chuck asking Seth, I ask you what beer you're drinking. Cheers. Yeah, Charles has. I'll be honest there. Also saying my silver bullet is showing that the mountains are blue. Yeah, I do like a little Coors Light as well. So all right, man. What do you guys say? Should we look at the current odds? And I will give a disclaimer as well to these that these odds are accurate as of last week. We don't have the official odds that dropped back since the Brickyard, so I did want to make sure that we kind of had these out there. But what are you guys' thoughts on these? Like, I thought like the favorites are pretty fair, plus 450 across the board for Hamlin, Bell, and Larson. I think there might be some little bit of value down the board, though. Rod, what's your initial reaction when seeing these?
So I don't know. Maybe I'm just behind the times, but Christopher Bell to me just doesn't feel like he's gonna get to the playoffs. Obviously, he gets to the playoffs. Obviously, he's gonna make it past the round of 16. Probably he'll find his way maybe into the championship 4 like he always does every year. But I don't know. I mean, can you hang with the Kyle Larsons of the world? Can you hang with the Denny Hamlins of the world and win a championship? It's one thing to get there, but can you do it? I mean, Kyle Larson feels like the guy. And him and Hamlin, go figure, they're right together. But I mean, yeah, those two guys seem like right now it's going to have to go through one of them before it's all said and done. William Byron's kind of fallen off a little bit, but yeah, I don't know that Christopher Bell, and please somebody tell me that I'm wrong, doesn't necessarily deserve to be that short.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to take the other side of that argument. I think that he's definitely the championship favorite at this point. I understand Larson and Hamlin running well. And that they haven't run perfectly lately. I know Larson had the great run. Denny had been on kind of a rough streak. Larson has not looked invincible as he has in the past. They're definitely going to have something to say about it. But Chris Bell has made the championship for each of the last 2 years. He won Phoenix this year. He's won a lot. He's got a good short track program. He's in a Gibbs car. And I think the fact that he's been there and done that almost, he's had the experience going into Phoenix. Here's what we have to do. Last year he had a mechanical failure. The year before it didn't work out for him. I know that until you do it, it's the same thing as like breaking a long win streak argument.
Yeah.
Until you do it, I don't know if you have faith if I have faith that you can, but I think Christopher Bell 450 is still maybe a little short. I understand that, but I do understand him being up near the favorites, and I certainly wouldn't look away from him.
I think it's the plus 450 number that I'm with you, Rod. Like if I could see that creep up to 5-1, 5.5-1, like if we catch a 6-1 at some point at Bell for the rest of the season, I'm hammering down on it. I'll be honest with you. Like I think I'm with you, Elliot, that if he does get to Phoenix, he's ran the best on that track type, that he probably should be considered in this favorite. And look, like it sets up for him for a good playoffs as well. He's good at the road courses. He's shown speed using some of the high horsepower packages, whether it's what we kind of saw here recently, the last 2 weeks, or it's the super speedways as well. So I don't hate Bell. I thought Brad Keselowski's odds were a bit high for someone who's 9th in the season points, 9th best average finish, 14.4. And those are actually like ahead of numbers like Blaney, Bell, Logano as far as average finish goes. And then like Brad set up, I think, really well the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. We have races on super speedways, tracks he's usually good on. Where I think it gets tricky for RFK boys, specifically Brad, is that round of 8, like containing tracks like Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville, where Brad has kind of struggled. So I think aside from those 2 tracks, Elliot, I do like Brad at 20-1. It feels pretty long. I'm not betting it, but I definitely thought an interesting number. I wish we could get like, to advance to the round of 8, even an even money bet I'd click on for Brad there.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even take a championship 4 bet for him. I just don't think RFK has the consistent enough speed, and he doesn't have the playoff points right now either. It's extremely tough if you don't have a gigantic bank of playoff points. The one run that I remember the most is Bowman in 2020. I don't know that he finished outside like the top 12 the whole playoffs.
Yeah.
Didn't have a chance heading into Martinsville. He was still like 50 some points back of making the championship 4. If he can get a win, obviously if he can win his way through the rounds, I'm not completely ruling it out. But I mean, we're only a couple of months removed from, is Brad Keselowski going to win again at all? Is RFK going to be able to win consistently in that 6 car? I just don't see him running all the way to the championship. So throw the odds as long as you want. I think he could win a race early. I think he could be a surprise round of 8 entrant. I don't think he's got a prayer at the title.
Rod, I want to ask you this. Daniel Suarez out there at 110-1. Listen, I know Daniel Suarez cannot win the championship. Like I'm not putting that on the internet right now. What I'm saying is this is on.
You're looking for the cash out, aren't you?
Yes, I'm looking. Yes,
out if he makes around a 12.
Yes, these are FanDuel odds. I don't know if I put that disclaimer out, but listen, like the first round sets up awesome for Suarez. Atlanta, he fucking won there. He's always a stud there. Then we're going to Watkins Glen, where he's a good road course racer, and then Bristol, where he's been all right as well. So.
You got a good point there, bud.
Like I think there's a chance he gets to the round of 12, and that 110 is probably what a 60, a 50-1, and you're cashing out maybe
probably lower than that even the round if he makes this round of 12. Yeah,
Rob,
you're right with the cash out mindset.
What are your thoughts on mi amigo here? Am I drinking too much Busch Light tonight, or am I onto something here?
You might actually be onto something. That I would laugh at, obviously placing it as an outright. But if you're going in with the mentality of this is an investment only for the first round of the playoffs, that's a shrewd strategy. I don't know that too many people really can approach it that way, right? They place an outright and they want to hang on to the end to see if it cashes. But look, dude, if you're already looking to just sink a little bit of it, you may not want to put that out there because the books may want to take that away from you. But hell, why not, right? If he does do well in Atlanta again, if he does end up doing well at that super speedway again, that could definitely give you a good opportunity to withdraw and be happier that you did. So yeah, good on you, Seth, for finding a good way to make a little money without having to have Daniel Suarez the whole thing.
Yeah. A little bit of 4D chess there from Seth. My 2 favorite numbers on this board, Ryan Blaney at 10-1 and Tyler Reddick at 12-1. I know we've already talked about him a little bit, but really, I mean, they're having extremely underrated seasons, I feel like, because they're not in the Hendrick stable and they're not, they don't have the Hamlin-Larson battle. They don't have the Byron going out there and winning 3 of the first 8. But, for Blaney, the Fords were slow at the start of the year. 2311 can be inconsistent, but I can very easily see both of these guys. They're extremely well-rounded drivers. The equipment is continually getting better as the season goes on. Very rarely is it the best driver over all 36 races that's going to win a title. It's going to be who gets hot late and who can run on all different kinds of tracks and win. And I think both Reddick and Blaney can definitely be those guys. And at those odds, hell of a lot better than a Bell plus 450. I can say that.
Yeah, I would like to stay on Tyler Reddick because last week I found him 15-1 for the championship winner at Caesars. I went a half a unit down on it. I'm hoping that that's still going to be around this week for the IBT family. Look, Tyler Reddick opened this season prior to the Busch Light Clash 14-1. So to see him at 15-1 now is a bit surprising, especially like you said, Elliot, pretty underrated season. He's 3rd in the points, in a position to potentially win the regular season championship. And right now, he has the best average starting position in the field, 9.3, second best average finishing position, 11.3 behind only Chase Elliott. And right
Got
now, with
top tens also.
yeah. And like, I feel like with a guy, like, he hasn't won a ton. Obviously has that win at Talladega, but then had like really close wins at Vegas, Darlington, Chicago street race. And like, we can kind of thank the gambling gods for once that he probably didn't win those races, or he wouldn't be fucking 15-1. So
No doubt.
given his road course prowess and that he has good playoff points banked already, 8 of them, and he's probably going to get 7 to 10 more from the regular season standings. I think he'll be able to skate through the round of 8, and then it's just, can he get through there, Rod, to make a push in the championship 4? Your thoughts on Reddick and any other best bets you're considering here for the updated championship futures odds?
Yeah, so I'll tell you right now on Bet365, he's still 14-1. So you can even get it better over on Bet365 right now if you truly do believe in Tyler Reddick. And it's hard not to. Although I will say that lately it seems like it's been a little bit hectic for that 45 team. He's put himself into some situations where he hasn't necessarily been in favorable situations. But, like you said, there's a lot right going for him right now. And all it takes is for him to get hot. I know Cody is ridiculously still high on Tyler Reddick. He's got a lot invested in his championship totals. But, I mean, you got to do a little better than 9 top 5s if you want to start creeping into the conversation. And lately though, when you look at his last few finishes going back to Charlotte, only one finish outside of the top 10 in that span, and that was a 22nd place in Iowa. Other than that, fourth, 8th, 6th, 3rd, 2nd, 6th, 2nd. That spells consistency to me. And guess what you need when you're going down the line for these playoffs? It's consistency.
And what have you done for me lately? Consistency. Like I said, it's getting hot at the right time. You can have your early season struggles. You can have your inconsistency. You get your shit together by the time we hit, well, not this year, Darlington, but we'll say Darlington for the sake of it. You get your shit together by the time you hit Darlington or Atlanta this year, you're in good shape.
Rod, is there anyone else we haven't touched on that you can circle here? Because I feel like we really noted some of the discrepancies, like Kez at 20-1, it ain't terrible. We all kind of like Reddick from somewhere between 12 to 15-1, and then potentially a cash out option on Suarez. But besides that, it feels like I'm not touching Joey Logano 14-1 with the 10-foot pole, or MTJ to go out on top either.
Yeah, the Joey Logano bet was fun at the beginning of the year when you could say, it was even year, but you can't. It would be totally responsible of you to do it now. Unless, of course, it hits, and then I'm wrong, but I'm not afraid to do that. I mean, if you really want to try to speculate, I know Byron's price is at 6-1, and it's not sexy as some of these 10-1s.
Yeah.
But Byron's kind of one of those guys where he's going to disappear for a while, and then all of a sudden he'll just pop his head back up again and start doing well, and maybe win a couple down the stretch that'll send him back into the conversation. So, I mean, you're sleeping on him now, but if he wins one more, is he in this plus 450 range with the rest of these guys,
Yeah, it's a good point.
The problem with Byron is just the inconsistency. And, I think he's a lock for the round of 8, and I don't know that he makes it past there.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I don't know how he matches up in those last 3 races leading up to there. I think that would probably be my only thing. Like, I don't really know where he stands at the tracks. I know Las Vegas is in that as well, and then Homestead and Martinsville. Like, he's been good at Martinsville in the next gen. I just don't think as good at Las Vegas and Homestead. So I think you're kind of right onto something there, Elliot.
He may need to pull what Chase did in 2020 and what Bell did. The Chastain year, and win his way into the championship 4. But
yeah, I was just talking to my brother today, and he texted me out of the blue. Ross Chastain is badass, and I was like, okay. And he's watching the NASCAR documentary there that was on Netflix, and he had never seen the Hail Melon move, and I was like, dude, like, yeah. So,
and that was that legit is one of those. I'm assuming you guys were watching it live. I'm not sure, but that's one of those like you remember where you are moments.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, Bell wins, whatever. I was hoping Ross was going to make it. Damn, he's not going to make it. And then he's just skirting around the wall. I'm like, where the fuck did he come from? And then it was, that's just crazy. It's still it's great that that's still going around almost 2 full years later.
Martinsville Magic, baby. Stan in the chat saying preseason, I bet Reddick over 1.5 and over 2.5 wins. It's been super frustrating watching him barely miss out lately. Pour one out for fucking Stan, boys. Holy cat. Like that would be sad, man.
With how damn close he's come the last couple of weeks. Like I'm sure Chicago, he was like, man, we're fucking gonna hit one of these right here, and didn't quite work out after he hits the wall in 5. I think he'll get there.
Yes.
I think Reddick probably, I honestly think he probably hits those numbers and then just completely flames out in the round of 8 if he's not going to make it to the 4, win the title. Get the wins there. I forget where Texas is, but I know he kicks ass at Fall, Texas. And he'll have the playoff points to make it to the round of 16 without much trouble. But then, it's just, especially with all the pressure he puts on himself, the more pressure you put on yourself, the higher the pressure gets. We've already seen him kind of fuck up opportunities to win legitimately.
It's true.
Maybe shaky for a title win.
That's true. That's true. I'm invested. So is Chuck, though. He went down a unit, following us down on the 14-1 that he got down on Bovada. Glad Bovada has the odds live and updated because nowhere else does. So I was really happy that I took this screenshot last week, boys.
I think Caesars
5 does have him right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and
Caesars didn't when I was looking this morning, but then they brought him back up. And even Bet Rivers still has the odds to make the championship 4. Which there are still some decent numbers here. Chase Elliott plus 175. I kind of liked Blaney at plus 150. I mean, at that point, you're really hoping that those guys can consistently make it through.
Blaney plus 150, really?
Yeah, Reddick's at plus 250. I still kind of don't hate Busher at 5-1. Maybe even we haven't talked about him at all. Ty Gibbs at plus 600 to make it all the way to the championship 4. Obviously, he's got to win.
No,
obviously he's got to make sure he's in the playoffs. But
his engines have just been fucking him lately, man. 2 weeks in a row, high horsepower pack, dude. That's a totally separate conversation. JGR needs to figure it out under the hood these next 2 weeks, Elliot.
Maybe it wasn't just that like Kyle Busch wasn't crazy when he thought they were giving him shittier cars. Maybe it just translated over to the grandkid.
Yeah. Anything else from you guys from a future standpoint, but before we pull up our giveaway here?
It's tough now. Yeah. I mean, we've seen so much this year, and it's how many different winners have we seen? I mean, I don't think we're going to see too many more different winners this year. So I think everybody that's already locked is going to stay that way. Kyle Busch winning this last week did a lot.
I wouldn't rule out Kyle Busch pulling one off before the playoffs. I can't rule it out. I would honestly, I think he can win out of the Daytona. I was about to say Daytona, Todd Gilliland, whatever his outright is. I think I'm going to fucking hammer the Todd Gilliland outright at Daytona. Ross, I don't know if he's going to win. Ty maybe won't win. I could see Bubba Wallace pulling one out also.
Yep. I agree with that. He's had some speed lately.
Truex will make it on points. He's like plus 130 or something.
Yeah, he'll be good.
Probably only 1 or 2 new winners. I'm not even rolling out some crazy shit at Daytona. Like maybe we get a LaJoy, Hocevar, or Zane Smith win to throw Spire in the playoffs.
Yo, Zane Smith has been bad lately.
Has come way too fucking close to winning races lately. It's dangerous.
Tino in the chat last week were giving me a little shit for playing Zane Smith in DFS. Well, I just want you to know he did better than most of my fucking team last week after JHN took out half the fucking field at the end. So shout out Zane Smith. The dude has some real speed as of lately. So I don't hate that call, Elliot. Don't hate that at all. Next week we're gonna do our truck and Xfinity update championship odds. We're also gonna do maybe a prospect draft as well. So I think that could be a pretty fun time. But Elliot, before there, we have a really fun giveaway that you and the great people at Pocono Raceway are helping us out with.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So I showed it earlier in the media center. They had some gifts for us, including these hats here. They're Crowns brand by Lids. They're pretty nice.
Nice, comfy. Probably the comfiest hat I have ever had, to be honest with you.
Right. You normally would think, free giveaway hat, it's going to suck, but no, this is pretty well done. You got the Great American Getaway 400 right here. Stickers still on there, hasn't been worn. On the side, you got the little visitpa.com, certainly helping to bring some tourism into the state of Pennsylvania, especially if I'm shipping this outside of Pennsylvania. Hopefully it's a sign, come visit. And then also throwing in some die casts for people as well. From the personal collection here, we have a nice little 187th Michael Waltrip, number 55 Napa car.
Wally.
Kind of see it in there.
Is that Daniel Dye car? Is that what you said, Daniel Dye?
We got, we're talking some beer. We have Kevin Harvick, number 4, Budweiser, Make a Plan to Make It Home.
Ooh.
164th. That is from 2015.
Appreciate
that. A little throwback there. And we've got Eric Jones, the number 43 Tide car that ran at Bristol Dirt a couple of years ago, the NASCAR Authentic.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I believe that's it. So, yeah, we're throwing in the hat and some extra die casts for your guys' collection also.
Hell yeah. Well, we appreciate it. Guys, check out the wheel, check out the side rail. Let us know in the next 30 seconds if you're not on this list. Marcus, I did add you in. I saw you were in here tonight. So I went ahead to add you. I think we got Kush, Charles, a lot of our regular people. Stan, you're definitely on that list. I know Stan's already pulled one out here this weekend. So we'll give you another 5 seconds or so to let us know if you don't see your name and you want to enter in the giveaway. And hopefully you can win that sick hat, because I'm going to be honest, I'm a little jealous of that. That you don't see your name, Rod? Is that
I
what
don't
I'm
see my name in there? What the hell's up with that?
We should have scooped an extra hat for Rod too. We weren't thinking.
Just kidding. I don't qualify. I'm like when I was with the radio station. I get to give them out. I don't get to have them.
Yeah.
Well, I was about to say that the guy next to me from the radio station, the local radio station up there in Eastern PA, I don't think he showed up, so we could have technically stole his hat and gave it to you.
No, well, I mean, that's how we got the second one, is people just didn't take them,
Nah,
That's okay. The gentleman who was seated next to me didn't show up all weekend, so that's why.
Well, it's his name. You should roast him right now.
Yeah, I don't even remember. I wouldn't do that, just in case.
I know.
They'll send us a cease and desist and be like, "Send me my hat, you stupid fuck."
Oh,
All right, let's do this giveaway. Let's see what's going on here. Where's the okay? Here we go. All right,
Just
click
put a
to
lipstick stain on it too, though. Kiss it and send it back to him.
Yeah, it's a white hat. Be careful. Keep it clean.
Exactly. Yep.
Yes, I was working on my car yesterday and I almost got some on it.
White
Oh,
hat, Jeremy.
Josh
Mills. Congratulations, buddy.
Let's go, Josh Mills. Josh, please reach out to us on Twitter at IBT_media. I'm at between_SethFF. Elliot is at EHicks39. Rod, is what are you at RJ_Villa Gomez or just RJ Villa Gomez?
Just RJ Villa Gomez. Same since 2009.
Okay.
Nice.
I'm not going to give my phone number out anymore.
Yeah,
Not because I don't want, because everyone from the IBT family who texts or calls me, I greatly appreciate it. But just today, I actually got the little fraud alert from PNC. Someone's been running up the card somewhere, folks. So yeah, it finally caught up with me, Elliot. You've been warning me for months. And
yeah, it's not because we don't trust the IBT fam. It's because we don't trust the other people who can get access to that. Even just bots ripping shit from the internet. You're talking about getting a lot of spam calls too.
They got me. They bought NCAA 25. They bought NASCAR Heat 5. Like for a second, I was like, "Is this fraud, or did I just start fucking buying?"
You just you haven't featured any bush lights and bought
One too
PS5.
many.
Yeah,
It's like hitting the PS5 story. I got this.
Yes. Rod, tell us, man, what else you have going on the next couple weeks over there at the NASCAR Gambling Podcast. I know you and Cody have been cooking like 5 days, six shows a week. Like, it's just been absolutely insane between that and your F1 content and your AFL content. So are we chilling the next couple weeks, or are we rampant? What's going on over there and everything else you got cooking over there, SGPN?
Well, so for the first time in 3 seasons, we will take a break. However, we do have 2 episodes in the can that we'll be releasing over the course of the next week.
Nice.
And then, we pre-recorded them before Cody went on vacation. He's taking a well-deserved vacation. I will probably step away from the mic for a couple of days after this.
Nice.
But we'll release those over the course of the next week. And then next week, we hit it hard again with our futures talk. And we'll double down with some more of the bets that we like to make Championship 4. And all that stuff. So yeah, check out the NASCAR Gambling Podcast for some silly season talk. Probably Tuesday and Thursday. I think I'll release those episodes on those days. And then next week we go back live because listen, you get 1 week. That's all you get. And if you want, also go check out some of the Arena Football League content. I know the season's over now, but we're gonna have an interview with the AFL Championship Game MVP Isaac Harker, the quarterback for the Billings Outlaws. I'm gonna eat some more crow because I didn't pick Billings. But you can also go check out all the other stuff that we did up to the point. That was a tumultuous season. Glad it's over. Looking forward to 2025. But I tell you what, there was a lot of memorable moments in there. So yeah, if you missed any of it, go back and watch it. It's a blast.
Yeah,
Glad to hear it, man. Glad to hear it.
There, Rod, should we fill in Seth and the audience about that F1 race this past weekend? All that crazy. Do we even want to get into that here?
Well, so here's what I'll say. Cody and I, we've kind of stepped back from the F1 show altogether, right? Because it's hard to fit it in the schedule, and it kind of got to be a little repetitive, right? Of course, we step away, and now we've got Lando winning, we've got Oscar winning, we've got McLaren deciding who's going to win the race. Like, all of a sudden, the drama starts when we decide it got a little too boring to continue to cover it. So, Elliot, I mean, what gives, dude? Max is already starting to lose grip on this field, and I mean, when he finishes 5th in a race, now all of a sudden his odds are back down to where they should be, right? Where we're
Mhm.
starting to think about maybe we bet him again. But this is what we've been screaming for the last 2 seasons, and now we're getting it, and we're not covering it. So we may jump back on again.
It's only because I started paying attention this year. So thanks to the parties responsible for that. But
New show coming in 2025. Elliot's F1 fuckery corner.
Let's go.
Every
it
Friday.
really is fuckery, because so what happened was, any sort of semblance of team orders in NASCAR is frowned upon. They will, with Michael Waltrip Racing, they basically shut down that whole fucking organization because they tried to sneak Truex into the playoffs in a year where he was not going to win anything. McLaren's pit strategy, they had Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri were leading the race. They go in for their final pit stop. They have Lando short pit Oscar, so he takes the lead by about 6 seconds. And McLaren is, like, every lap, they're badgering Lando Norris on the radio. Hey, we're going to need you to give the lead back now. Hey, we know you're going to do the right thing here. Give the lead back. It's our team order. Like, hey, think of every single Sunday morning meeting we're going to have here. Like, basically, like, everything short of, hey, give the lead back, or this is your last F1 race for us.
Yeah, that's why I don't watch fucking F1 right there.
Takes it all the way down to 3 laps to go. Lando hits the brakes. Oscar goes by and wins the race. And that was his first win, too. So it's like, it completely devalues the whole racing product. It devalues the first win for a guy, devalues what could have been the second win for the McLaren prospect that is now arguably the hottest driver in F1, that has stuck with them forever. I won't go on a whole soapbox about it, but just to put that out there, since someone mentioned the F1 thing, put that in my head, and it's just unbelievable. But that's the way it goes over across the pond, I guess. I don't know.
Could you imagine having a Lando outright and then watching
for real? It's like how can you even bet on it? It's like, I understand people bet on the WWE, and that's fixed to a point too. But yeah, it's almost untenable to even bet on it, because if you have a team situation like that, take the team to win, take the driver nationality in some cases, but
or fastest pit stop, like I love, because that's a fun one too.
No, but it really has been a real exciting season. It's 6 or 7 different winners already, and maybe Max isn't going to win the title. But if Lando and Max run it real close, hopefully Max doesn't win by about 7 points. The difference between first and second.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to the F1 Bulls out there. We appreciate you all. Easiest way to support Elliot, myself, Rod, everyone over here at IBT. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoy this type of content. And thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in on a Monday. I know we're usually live on Thursdays, but so good to have Stan, Kush, Charles, so many of the regulars in here. Marcus, we greatly appreciate it all, guys. We'll be back probably, I think, next Thursday. I think we will go live normal time, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. We'll talk a little truck, a little Xfinity, maybe a little prospect draft as well. So until then, guys, enjoy some time off. And what do you guys say? We keep it in between here, huh?
Keep it in between. And thanks as always for rolling on down the back road with us another week. Enjoy the break off. Normally I lead it to enjoy the next race. You can enjoy the next race after you watch us again next Thursday.